All right, the suspect from Dynamic Discs, we have it in the Fuzion Burst Plastic. Very flat disc, has a bead on the bottom here, as you can see. Doesn't feel overly obtrusive. Feels actually pretty good in the hand. Relatively shallow, beautiful burst pattern on this. Feels more like a mid-range than it does a putter. Easy to establish a power and a fan grip on it. The Fuzion Plastic, besides looking beautiful in this pattern, has a very good amount of grip to it. There's some good flex to the disc, but it feels very durable, very flat. As you can see, it doesn't have a pop top or anything, so I'm excited to see how it does. So when I saw the numbers on the suspect, I expected a specific type of flight, and from that first throw, that was exactly what I got. This is a very reliable feeling disc. We were thrown into some pretty good wind on both sides of the field. Coming back from this side of the field was some headwind, and this disc is holding up very well into that headwind, continuing to push forward and fade. On slight turnover lines, it still fights out with that 0-3 at the end again, into some crosswind there, still very reliable. There's a comfort factor here. This mid/putter feels very similar to some of the other lineups from DD, like an EMAC Truth or a Verdict. There's also reliability in the forehand. There's just enough stability there where if you torque over on this disc, it's still going to manage to fight its way out, but it's going to give you a very level, straight flight like that. Nothing to worry about going too far in distance because of that reduced glide, but for an approach disc and the versatility of lines that you see, I think it holds up really well overall.
All right, here we go with the suspect in hand out in the field. Now with this disc, it is a slower speed mid coming at a speed 4, glide 3, 0, 3. So with those numbers in mind, there are very specific shots that I'm looking to execute with this disc. One is the consistent hyzer, which we see here. You can let it go, put it on an angle, and it's pretty much going to maintain that angle true to the 0 turn for the entire flight. Another shot that I would be looking for would be a straight shot with a late turn, which is what this is. And you can see it just executes that perfectly as well. Again, true to its numbers. This right here is a little nose up floating turnover shot. And with the fade of 3, it always consistently fights out. This is a longer turnover shot here. And again, you'll see at the point of fade, it is always attempting to come back out. Again, with a utility disc of this speed, up shots would be in hand, and a forehand game would definitely be there. The suspect gets a rating of in the trunk. The disc does everything you expect a disc of this speed and stability to do. It's a tweener disc, not quite a mid, not quite a putter. And for my game, I will execute these shots with a mid or a putter. It is for me a utility disc and not a mainstay in the bag. But in the event of a lost disc, on the right day, the right conditions, the suspect could be a game saver, and that's why I keep it in the trunk.
The Fuzion suspect is getting a final rating of in the bag. I was really pleasantly surprised by this disc. I know that it's been recently put out of production by Dynamic Discs, but I also know that a lot of pros prefer throwing this disc for their approaches, and I can see why. It gives you a lot of versatility on both sides, both the forehand and the backhand. The reduced glide limits how much trouble you can get into. It really does fit into that approach disc category like a harp or a zone. Not quite as stable as a zone, maybe a little bit more stable than a harp, depending on which plastic you get it in. But the versatility that is offered with this disc and the different lines that you can throw along with the reliability factor is why I'm putting this disc in the bag. We here at Ace One Productions want to give a very special thank you to Dynamic Discs for supplying the disc that you just saw in this review video. Please make sure to head on down to our description where we will have a direct link on where you can go to get your hands on the disc that you just saw in this video. Check out dynamicdisc.com for all your needs for dynamic discs, Westside disc, and Latitude 64. They have a virtually endless supply of your disc golf needs covered. Please head on over, and again, special thank you to everyone there at Dynamic Discs.